Now I know, we Brits, we talk a little funny. Poppycock. Absolute poppycock. Well, is it time for some hanky-panky? The spotted dick is sublime. So last week, I asked my good friend Jess from Love and London to survey her American audience to find out which words they found most ridiculous, the most hilarious, and the most bizarre. And here are the results. It's your London boy, Teacher Tom, and I'm here to teach you fresh, modern British English so that you can grow and succeed in your English speaking world. Today we're looking at 10 words that Americans find hilarious, ridiculous in Britain. Oh my god, I just heard the sweetest thing. This old gentleman just said poppycock. What the hell's poppycock? These Brits are so quaint, right? Poppycock. They just make this shit up, right? I mean, God. We're gonna kick off this list with the word poppycock. Poppycock. Say that with me. Poppycock. Now this means nonsense, and it derives from the Dutch poppycock. Obviously that's not the actual pronunciation. Apologise to all my Dutch viewers. And that actually translates as soft dung or dole shit. So yeah, nice, really. We just use it to mean nonsense. It's actually quite an old-fashioned term. I probably wouldn't use it these days. I would probably just say that's nonsense. But for some British people, poppycock is the word they would choose. So for example, if someone said, Elon Musk is trying to get to Mars, you'd be like, oh, poppycock, he'll never get there. And that means nonsense, he'll never get there. Poppycock, what a great word. Now, very much related to that is codswallop. Codswallop, that's our second word. Codswallop has the same meaning, nonsense, but its origins are slightly different. Now the earliest example I could find of this word was from a BBC comedy programme called Hancock's Half Hour from 1959. Now in an interview with the writers, they admit that they didn't invent the word, but they gave it a new meaning. Now I think one of the writer's uncles used to call him a codswallop. And they thought, oh, this is a great word. We're going to use it to replace swear words in our TV shows. Obviously on the BBC you can't swear. So that's where the word codswallop came to mean nonsense. Now dating back even further than that, there are reports that in the fish market in London, Billingsgate, a codswalloper was a term used to describe a loud, coarse fish porter. So that was a codswalloper, and then a codswallop has kind of changed meaning to mean nonsense. Now this is quite an old-fashioned term. Again, I would probably say, oh, that's nonsense, or oh, that's rubbish. But codswallop is a great option if you prefer. Now there was definitely a lot of curiosity from the Americans that completed this survey about words that have names in. So the two that came up were Bob's Your Uncle and Gordon Bennett. Bob's your uncle, Gordon Bennett, right? Bob's your uncle kind of means like, and there you have it. In French, they would say, et voilà, et voilà. Well, we would say, Bob's your uncle. So if I was explaining a cake recipe, I'd say, you get your flour, your sugar, you mix them together, you add a bit of chocolate, blah, 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 Bob's your uncle, you have a cake. And there you are, you have a cake. Don't try that recipe at home, it probably won't work. Now the etymology of Bob's your uncle is disputed. There are different reports. One story is that Conservative Prime Minister Lord Salisbury, whose first name was Robert, appointed his nephew as the Chief of Ireland in 1887. Anything's possible. If Bob's your uncle, anything's possible, because Bob is shortened form of Robert. Now, whether that's true or not, I'm not entirely sure, but it sounds plausible to me. Now, the other word that we have was Gordon Bennett. Gordon Bennett, and this is used to express surprise or anger at something. Oh, Gordon Bennett. For example, oh, Gordon Bennett, I've got a parking fine. Expressing your anger in that moment. Moving on to our next ridiculous phrase that Brits use, Cockfosters. Now, this is a place in North London that frankly sounds quite silly, doesn't it? Cockfosters. I know that when I was a kid, when I got on the tube and I saw that station at the end of the line, I'd be like, Cockfosters. Every kid has laughed at that name, and every adult probably too. Now what's funny is I know how place names really do cause a lot of problems for tourists coming to London and to Britain in general. Think of London, the main square is Leicester Square, but for lots of people arriving, they might say, hi, excuse me, do you know where Leicester Square is? Leicester Square. Leicester. Leicester? how could it possibly be Leicester? Look at the letters. It doesn't say Leicester. Leicester Square. Marylebone. Well, Marylebone. Of course, Marylebone. So yeah, we've got a lot of place names that cause a lot of problems. Strange ones like Cockfosters. I'll do a whole video on silly place names at some point because, yeah, we really are quite good at choosing ridiculous names for places. And in fact, let's continue with silly names. There's a dessert that we have here. Excuse me, there seems to be a typo on the menu. You've put spotted dick. I don't think it's dick. Please tell me that's a typo. Oh my God. They eat dick here. Oh my God. These Brits, they eat dick. Oh my God. What? It's so wild. Spotted dick. Alright, no laughing in the back there, I see you. Yeah, okay, spotted dick, yes, the word dick is there. Now this is a dessert that has dried fruit in it. Now that's the spotted part, right? Because it looks like spots. There's lots of little raisins and whatnot in there. The dick part, I think, derives from dessert. I saw dessert or dough, it's one of those two. Now there was a funny story a few years ago where in one canteen they decided to change the name to a Spotted Richard. Now Richard is the long name for Dick. Dick is the shortened version of Richard. So they changed it to Spotted Richard because people were making too many jokes. And the canteen staff were like, yeah, another Spotted Dick joke, yeah, very clever, very original. We're just gonna change it to Spotted Richard. Then they can't make those jokes. Now, we talked about silly names for places that we have. I mean, silly names for food as well. Toad in the hole, Eton mess. I mean, what are we on about? Now, if you love British English and all these kinds of crazy words, then you'll love my book, A Really British Guide to English, because it's packed full of words like codswallop and numpty and hanky-panky and lovely jubbly, all of those wonderful words. They're all in here. It's kind of like a dictionary and a cultural guide to Britain as well. If you would like to get your hands on a copy, you can get it via Amazon if you're in the UK, or you can buy it directly from me if you live anywhere else in the world. The links are in the description below. You can also get a digital version via Amazon Kindle. The link to that is also in the description below. Okay, the next one, chinwag. Chinwag? Chin? Wag, like a dog's tail, wagging. Yeah, and that literally is what it means. It means a conversation, particularly like a gossipy conversation with someone. So you might say, yesterday I had a chinwag with the guy next door and he told me all the gossip about our neighbours. Yeah. Okay, the next word that came up quite frequently was the word numpty. Numpty, what a word this is. Now this means a foolish person. And it's more popular north of the border in Scotland than it is down south. You'd hear it much more frequently in Scotland. Now it's believed that this word derives from the word numps, which I think means a stupid person, and then Humpty Dumpty, it's a kind of play on that. So it's kind of numpty, combining those two words. And there's a record of this from 1985. However, I think the BBC did a study and found that actually this word goes back even further, perhaps 200 years, to a play. Either way, it's a fantastic word and a really, really soft way to call someone an idiot or a foolish person. So for example, Dad, you've burnt the toast, you numpty. God, dear, oh dear. Our next phrase, a nosy parker. A nosy parker. This means someone who is overly interested in the business of other people and that has nothing to do with them. So my neighbour is a bit of a nosy parker. She's always getting involved in other people's business. Okay, and our last phrase, lovely jubbly. Now this is a fantastic phrase we use to express happiness or delight. It's usually said whilst rubbing your hands. Ooh, lovely jubbly. Now this was popularised by a TV show called Only Fools and Horses, and the main character, Del Boy, saying it. Hey, lovely jubbly! Ooh, lovely jubbly. Now the origins of this word are really interesting. There was a drink, a sort of orange flavoured drink called jubbly in the 1950s. And their advertising slogan was lovely jubbly, lovely jubbly. Now the writer of Only Fools and Horses must have seen that advert and kind of changed it for his own use. So he's changed it to lovely jubbly and has made it the phrase that it is today. And it's a phrase that people talk about all the time as being classically English or classically British. Lovely jubbly. I remember going on holiday to Thailand, and one of the street market guys was like, come and buy my shirts, they're lovely jubbly. And I was like, what? In Bangkok, they know this word? Unbelievable. So yeah, This is a classic British phrase. Lovely jubbly. If you want to learn more about British English slang, you can click on this video here. And if you want to learn about British English accents, you can click right here. And I'll see you in the next video.